The EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce strategy is based on 5 key pillars, and one of them is access to finance. And we have decided to address and discuss the challenges and opportunities about accessing finance on a sectorial basis. It is the vision that brings them together. We are talking about, topics like topics related to food security in Africa. And this is a concern for everybody.
Okay.
So we wanted definitely to bring all the stakeholders around the table,
Okay.
for them to listen to each other, especially, for instance, when we have project owners, knowing the reality on the ground. And sometimes they have these discussions in sort of closed doors, like between a financier and a project owner. We wanted this discussion to be open and having project owners voicing their concerns, their challenges, and having financiers listening to them, but in an open sort of, framework,
Hi everyone, welcome to the Africa Discourse Channel. We've come to the end of the event, Financing Agribusiness in Africa, and we are going to have a conversation with the event architect. So the person in charge of the event, she's in the person of Mrs. Sonia. She is the executive director of the UE Africa Chamber of Commerce. We're going to have a conversation with her, talk about what inspired the event and then what her organization is looking for to do in the next future. So I would want her to introduce herself properly, tell us more about herself, what she does, and then why this event in the first place. Hi, Mrs. Sonia. Welcome to Africa Discourse Channel.
Hey, Rita. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So we want to get to know you more. So please tell us a bit about yourself and then why you decided to organize this event.
Very good. So my name is Sonia Toro. I am the executive director of the EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce. I have a strong experience and background in EU public affairs. So I started my career in Brussels, in the EU quarter. And alongside my professional career, I am also co-founder of the EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce, which is a private initiative.
Okay.
And this event is very much part of our strategy at the Chamber. So the EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce strategy is based on 5 key pillars, and one of them is access to finance. And we have decided to address and discuss the challenges and opportunities about accessing finance on a sectorial basis, because the discussion might differ from one sector to another. So back in October 2024, we had the similar format and discussion about financing maritime in Africa.
Okay.
And it was very welcomed by the ecosystem, the maritime ecosystem, especially SMEs having some projects looking for finance in the maritime, ecosystem.
Okay.
So we wanted to have that same format of discussion for very key sectors. And this is how we decided to also have the same conversation for agribusiness.
Right.
So this is how we came to.
Okay. So as the organizer or the architect of the event, what was is there a specific barrier or gap you were trying to bridge with these conversations? So was there anything specific you were looking to achieve with this particular event specifically?
So we wanted definitely to bring all the stakeholders around the table,
Okay.
for them to listen to each other, especially, for instance, when we have project owners, knowing the reality on the ground. And sometimes they have these discussions in sort of closed doors, like between a financier and a project owner. We wanted this discussion to be open, also to be visible for the general public, so to say,
Okay.
an audience, and having project owners voicing their concerns, their challenges, and having financiers listening to them, but in an open sort of, framework, and also vice versa, because it was very interesting today to hear also what the financiers had to say in terms of the challenges to have access to good quality projects as well. So this was very interesting to have. And third thing that we find very interesting is also the knowledge and best practices sharing between regions or countries. And today we had a good engagement from Ghana, which we really appreciated. And this is also something that we look forward to when we organize those type of events.
Okay. I'm really impressed by how we're able to get like people from various countries coming together for this event to also share what is happening in their industries. But now my question is, mostly when we have these kind of conversations, we talk about it, but the action steps are not taken. So did we get like any solid or concrete sparks from like policymakers, governments, or private investors on the commitment for the way forward?
Thank you very much for that question. I really like that question because when we started our events, even in Brussels back in 2012, when we created the organization, we really wanted to have our events very practical because the stakeholders we are targeting, SMEs, they don't have time to jump from one event to another. They want to do business. Yeah. So already in the format of our events, you can see the practical aspect of the event. So for instance, here today we had pitching sessions, we had B2B sessions alongside with the discussions that were happening, during the event. So to come to your question about what's next after the discussion, this is where the program that we launched today. So we had a discussion on financing agribusiness, but it was also the unveiling of a program that will survive the event and that we will assess also for the next edition. So this is also the very practical aspect of our events. We don't just talk, we also have a framework of action through our program and also a ground for evaluation about what we've said, in the previous editions.
All right. So just to follow up with what you said, we realized that we had like different stakeholders. We had entrepreneurs, small business owners, people from governments, investors. How are you able to curate the event to make sure that you feed, like you serve every sector and then making sure they all benefit from the event?
I think it is the vision that brings them together. We are talking about, topics like, topics related to food security in Africa. And this is a concern for everybody. Okay. We are all concerned about that. So when we put the discussion toward a certain vision where we all agree upon, and it's something that we all want to achieve, then we are able, even though the stakeholders are different, we are able to gather them around a common and shared vision and make them see what role and part they can play towards reaching that vision.
Okay. So now you are a woman entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur. What do you believe that the role of African entrepreneurs now, especially women, and then since you're a women and then the youth? I think earlier I had a conversation with the speakers where I was talking about the youth do not find agriculture attractive anymore. So what do you think young people or young entrepreneurs can play a role in reshaping the agricultural business in Africa?
I think one key way for young entrepreneurs and also for women, the key way to success for them is to have access to information and also access to capacity building. Mm-hmm. They need to know how to do business. It is not just doing business, but how do we do it? And women and young people are not exempt. It's not, I don't believe like it's because it's a woman, so she will have a different path or different, no. She has to learn the same, tricks, if I can say that, or the same, so they have to have the same, learning opportunities. To me, that's the way to success. And this is very important for them.
So we are looking at our future outlook now. You've done a successful event. What should we expect from EU Chamber of Commerce from months to come next year?
So we were very happy to see the engagement of Ghana. We had Dr. Otto Kunor coming, representing the president office here in Abidjan. That was a strong signal. And we are also in discussion to hopefully have the second edition of our event in Accra. Okay. And this is something we would love to have. And all the audience here, when we were envisaging that, they were very happy, to continue the discussion. So in the months to come, that is, where we would like to, move towards. And hopefully we will have Ghana supporting us into that direction.
Okay. So my last question, what would be your one call of action to everybody that came for the event today, whether investor, entrepreneur, or somebody who is an agri enthusiast? What would be your call of action or message to share with them on how they can also support growth in agribusiness?
My call to action to them will be, after the words that we shared, now it's time to action. We have to walk the talk. The EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce has a program that we've launched. So if the engagement that was expressed by each of the stakeholders today is real, then they have an opportunity to become partners of a real, program that we come forward, with. So that would be my call. A very practical one. If they really are engaged in many things that they say, we have a very good and interesting platform to bring, together all the different stakeholders in partnership. So that would be my main.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ms. Sonia. Before you leave, we want you to share with our audience how we'll be able to reach you, get to know more about EU Chamber of Commerce, and then if somebody wants to work with you, what the next steps would be like.
So feel free. I mean, we are on LinkedIn. We also have our website. So yes, feel free to Google the EU-Africa Chamber of Commerce and reach us, through our website, or also I am personally on LinkedIn. So yes, these are different ways to contact me.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And all right, guys, this has been an insightful episode with Mrs. Sonia, who is the Executive Director of the EU Chamber of Commerce. She was the architect for this successful and amazing event. We look forward to the next edition. As she mentioned, that would be in Accra. So until then, thank you so much for joining, and do want to like, subscribe, and then share your thoughts on how we can finance agribusiness in the comment section. Thank you so much.
Thank you.